Push the tape. We do it a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach, and the bench deep. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunkered down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Film guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby Smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back, like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do it a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape. The tape.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The
Shut
tape.
up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You like that? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guy Network on a fabulous Tuesday evening. As usual, we got a loaded show for you guys tonight. Ryan Williams celebrated his 18th birthday the way every red-blooded American male should, boys. Greg McElroy buying stock in who? We're going to talk about that tonight. DJ Durkin getting paid thanks to a job opening. We'll talk a little bit about that. Auburn's defensive coordinator. Ohio State still interviewing defensive coordinators. We talked a little bit about that last night. We'll follow up with an update tonight. A little version of Would You Rather, college football style. And there is a kicking scandal going on, boys. There's a scandal in the specialist world.
Special teams made its own segment?
Special
Don't
teams.
tell me it don't matter.
Not only did special teams make its own segment, make it on the show sheet tonight, but they out here with scandalous behavior. So we're going to talk about them. Specifically the Aussies. Aussies out here wilding. So we're going to talk about those guys tonight. It's absolutely loaded, but I'm going to start with this right here. Boys, we officially have here on February 11th, 2025, we officially have our new deep state.
Uh-oh.
Yep. We have one on this network. We have the show's much-needed arch nemesis of 2025. I will say we don't have a necessarily strong track record with these types of things. No. The anti-Will Howard Deep State came back with a vengeance on us last year, only to go on and win a national title. So our Deep State wishes hopefully will prevail in 2025 because I got the one. I got the football program that we need to be out here collectively hating upon this coming up season. And it's a football program that honestly has no business being hated. It's never been good enough to really have haters. In fact, this football program hasn't really mattered on the national scene since that one time that Pirate coached Michael Crabtree and Graham Harrell back in 2005. But ladies and gentlemen, I am all the way in on rooting for the downfall of the Texas Tech Raiders in 2025. Because after an 8-5 season that culminated in a 13-point loss to Arkansas in a bowl game, they got the nerve to be out out here inviting ESPN down to campus for a 5,000-word walk around about how they're about to dominate the world of college football coming up. That's right. 8-5 Texas Tech signed 17 transfers this offseason, and the Red Raiders are preparing the world for Texas Tech's run atop the sport. Apparently, audio is cutting in and out.
I think it's a YouTube thing.
It's a YouTube thing. Hopefully, it's getting fixed. But yeah, Texas Tech out here providing some interesting quotes, to say the least. And I'm going to read you some of these tonight from the article titled, quote, "How Texas Tech Created a Portal Class So Good That Notre Dame Tried to Poach Their General Manager." Now, in this article, as I told you, written by ESPN, I'm about to read you some of the, what I'm calling, most I'm him quotes I've ever read on this network from Texas Tech football employees. Let's lay the groundwork of this article from ESPN running cover stories on Texas Tech. Quote, "Texas Tech brought in 17 new players in December, including 7 of the top 75 players in ESPN's transfer rankings. Good enough for the number 2 overall portal class in early January. And nobody outside of Lubbock, Texas saw it coming. The total cost of that splurge, more than $12 million. Texas Tech didn't pull off its stunning portal shopping spree purely by outspending its competition. However, it's never that simple. 5 months of careful planning and 10 days of relentless recruiting went into pulling it all together. And once the portal opened, they went on a hot streak." This is a quote from their head coach. "We started hitting home run after home run after home run," McGuire said. So that initial opening of this article is just to let you know that Texas Tech spent about $10 million on 17 players to add to their roster. We all talked about how this portal window wasn't necessarily like loaded down with superstars. We kind of talked about that. They signed their 3 top guys, though. Of this $10 million, more than 3.5 went to 3 football players. They got an edge rusher out of Georgia Tech, a defensive tackle out of Northern Illinois, and an offensive tackle from North Carolina. Paid both of them north of $1 million. They have a billionaire out there that is forking up most of this money. They went to him in August and said, "Hey, buddy, we're going to need about $5 million in December to go out and buy all these players," and then came to him in November and was like, "Actually, can we get like 10? Can we get $10 million to go out and buy a new roster? Because we went 8-5 and we were really, really close to maybe being a Big 12 champion." So they told their booster. And look, that's not what I'm here to bitch about. I am not here to bitch about boosters deciding that they want to go buy fancy new toys for their football program. It's your money, billionaire. Use your money how you see fit. I'm okay with that. Here's why I'm rooting for the downfall of Texas Tech, because some of these quotes are screaming, we've already made it. All right. I call this one the trust the NFL and hope for injuries. All right. Let me read you this.
Whoa.
Blanchard, who is the general manager that's getting all of this love, Blanchard says 90% of the work is collecting information. He puts a big emphasis on feedback from pro football scouting contacts and closely monitors every player who has NFL draft grades going into the season. Quote, "You might watch tape and be like, the NFL likes this guy. I don't really like him. Listen, that they got way more information than we do, so take the ego out of it. If the NFL is saying the guy is a 6th or 7th round draft pick, let's lean toward the guys who do this all the time. Let's have an advantage." Basically saying, like, my eval doesn't really matter. I'm just going to see who the NFL's looking at and keep tabs on those football players. And here's why I said I think they're also kind of rooting for injuries on some of these players and hoping that they can recoup on this. I don't think it's laid out in this article. In an effort to identify veteran players who might slip through the cracks, the staff kept a spreadsheet of senior prospects and crossed off names as each player surpassed 4 games played, the threshold for burning or saving a year of eligibility. 2 of the top 5 players left on the FCS list were Illinois State offensive lineman Hunter Zambrano and North Dakota State safety Cole Wisniewski. Both were preseason All-Americans who went down with season-ending injuries. Now they're both Red Raiders. Interesting. Here's where it really gets kind of gross. It really gets kind of filthy. Not only just kind of hoping that good football players at mid-major programs get hurt and you can recoup their eligibility. This is where they kind of admit and then pump themselves up. They admit, I'm not going to say to tampering, but they admit to tampering or at least watching these guys closely. And then with the whole, I'm out here the best at this. Quote, I'd say 85% of it is a waste of time, the GM says, because most of them stayed or some of them went to the draft. But that 15%, that wasn't a waste of time. Man, we executed on it. We were proactive. We already had grades on guys and had everything we needed done. There's maybe a surprise here or there come December, but we've been talking about these guys for what felt like 5 to 6 months. So they're talking about in August, all the guys they're about to go after in December before these guys in August even know that they're going to be gettable in December. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Okay. And here we go. Blanchard admits that there were some nerves and jitters as December neared and it was time to compete, but he felt fully prepared on what he calls the beautiful chaos of sorting through thousands of available players, making calls and offers, scheduling official visits, and negotiating with agents. Quote, it's chaotic, but I'm a psychopath for it. To me, it's becoming the most exciting event of the college football season for personnel people. National Signing Day used to be our Super Bowl. Not anymore. The portal window is now, and I love it. I'm a psychopath for it, guys. I'm a psychopath for when these 2,000 players get available so I can get on my poaching. Psychopath. Now, here's where it turns into, hey, here's my strategy. I'm the smartest man alive and the rest of you are idiots, with a little dash of, we about to finesse these kids. They're inflating contracts, guys, and front loading them because apparently they've been listening to the Film Guy Network. We've been talking about rev sharing coming down for a long time, haven't we? And we've been talking about if you were an agent, you'd be out here wilding a little bit because we know sanctions are coming, regulations are coming, salary caps are probably coming to this sport eventually. Texas Tech out here bragging about, hey, they knew this was coming, so they front-loaded all of these contracts. A few people caught on later, the GM said, but nobody was ahead of the curve like we were in terms of planning for it. They're talking about the settlement of House versus NCAA, which requires final approval, will allow schools to distribute $20.5 million to athletes in 2025 and 2026. We've talked about that on this network. Campbell knew the Matador Club, Texas Tech NIL Collective since 2022 would still be on the hook for funding the football roster from January through June before the athletic department took on that responsibility, and more importantly, before the new cap was established. While schools spent the fall semester scrambling to figure out the unprecedented changes to their financial model, Campbell saw a way for his alma mater to capitalize on the uncertainty. He recognized all the way back in August that Texas Tech should be aggressive in the December portal market and offer front-loaded deals that paid big bucks in the spring and summer before the cap kicked in. Quote, we had meetings in early in the football season, and he said, look, there's a part of that that we can really take advantage of. These quotes right here remind me of when that FSU booster was out here like, man, you guys are idiots. Ingram. You guys are idiots out here recruiting high school players. What a bunch of dum-dums. Just go out here and raid everyone else's roster. That's the way to do it. 2-9. Bring that one on down the path the next year. Y'all remember that? What was it? Ingram Smith? That's my man's name. Ingram Smith out here telling the world, y'all are a bunch of idiots, just like my man McGuire right here talking about, and Mr. Campbell, the general manager at Texas Tech, talking about, hey, the rest of the sport was out here with their head in the sand. We got well out in front of these. And what my favorite quote in this article was perhaps what I'm calling the villain arc statement. This is the villain arc statement provided by none other than the ESPN author who wrote this article. On his private jet back to Fort Worth following the 41-27 loss to Colorado on November 9th, Campbell posted on X about his frustration with, quote, awful officiating. He received a trolling response telling him to, quote, buy us an offensive line. His reply, I will.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. The general manager of a college football program, for some reason, who's on staff in Lubbock after losing to Colorado, took a PJ to Fort Worth.
Don't add up.
Got that money.
I don't really know what's going on there, but I ain't going to ask too many questions. I appreciate the villain arc, though. I'm just imagining it. The general manager flying on his private jet, getting a trolling response, and being like, the college football world has no idea what's coming for them right about now. And then after that, we continue in this ESPN article. I'm sure the rest of the Big 12 loved these comments that I'm calling, quote, the Big 12 really ain't shit. Quote, we are going to have the most talented roster in the conference, and I don't even think it's going to be close, Campbell said. We have never, ever been in that position. Not even close, he says. Really setting yourselves up here. And then follows it down with what I'm calling the, imagine if Ole Miss played in our shitty conference last year. Quote, they did a heck of a job, did Ole Miss, getting their defensive line last year. I think they probably had the best D-line in college football. The issue, they were still playing in the SEC. That D-line they assembled isn't anything different than what that conference sees on a week-to-week basis. He references the Rebels not to throw any shade, but rather to point out the differences in what he's attempting to do in Lubbock. Quote, I'm excited to see how a portal class at this level works out in the Big 12, Blanchard told ESPN.
So he basically just admitted that the SEC is on a completely different level than the Big 12.
Yeah, while also throwing complete shade at the rest of the conference. Doubled down with, we have the best roster, hands down, not even close. Could you imagine what Ole Miss would have done in this shitty conference last year? That's what we're about to do.
Yeah, I mean, that part I can kind of understand because I call that the Kurt Cignetti effect.
Yeah.
We had this guy from a basically middling Power 4 school come out and say, Google me, I'm the shit and all this, and it got them a lot of attraction. It's probably part of the reason why Indiana was such a relevant topic, other than the fact that they were undefeated for the majority of the regular season. But I understand why you're kind of postering up and doing things like that for Texas Tech. All the other things are very scummy, though.
Oh, the final send-off on this article is just, I'm going to hate you. Absolutely, I'm going to hate you. This was a football team, I remind you, that was 8-5 and took a 20-point home loss to Washington State last year. This is how Mans is talking. Quote, man, I came here to win championships, McGuire, the head coach, said. I want to be in that game so bad. After the portal haul he pulled off, Blanchard, the GM, doesn't mince words about Texas Tech's ambitions. Quote, this place has never gone to the Big 12 championship or won one, Blanchard said. Everybody from the top down is wanting one in Lubbock, Texas. I can't imagine it'll be a dream, but it's going to be a dream come true because it's about to happen.
There's a whole lot of statements in this that are just like, I feel like contradict one another of, we have the best roster. We brought into this incredible recruiting class, trying to model what Ole Miss did last year, but it's going to work out better for us in this conference because we don't play in the SEC. And then you go look at their transfer class and nothing really moving the needle for me. Maybe it moves the needle for Texas Tech.
You don't like the defensive tackle from Northern Illinois they paid $1 million for?
Hey, I guess he's got a dub against Notre Dame.
You don't like the edge rusher from Georgia Tech they paid $1 million for?
I highly doubt he's going to be
You don't like the Miami of Ohio wide receiver they paid $1 million for?
Ooh, Miami.
You don't like those?
No, not a fan. I mean, the biggest news for Texas Tech in the transfer portal this year was that Micah Hudson left the team. The former 5-star who didn't even do anything at Texas Tech despite them having a really good offense.
Now, look, the Northern Illinois defensive tackle, he was co-defensive player of the year in the conference.
Okay.
So, and the North Dakota State, the safety they were preying on the downfall of and recuperated a year of eligibility because he had foot surgery week 3 of the season. Mm-hmm. That guy was preseason All-American. Okay. So, he really good on the mid-major level. So, yeah, I mean, Texas Tech out here throwing millions of dollars and telling the world we've got the best team on paper. We're about to walk through this bitch.
So the philosophy is we took players from worse conferences and put them in our really bad conference. We're going to compete for a national title, but not really because I just told you that the SEC, much better conference than we are, much better players, but our roster, supremely better across the board.
He also knows that there's that one auto bid.
Yeah, no matter and it is mentioned in the article that they felt like they were a couple of points away, was the quote, from being in a Big 12 championship game, which I don't really know how it's possible because you took double-digit conference losses last year. So I don't know how that's mathematically possible, but they gave this pitch to the billionaire of, hey, appreciate the $250 million we just spent on the facilities, because they do have a brand new football building. They got Micah Hudson back, by the way. I guess he's back in Lubbock. That's what the chat's telling us, so we're going to see there. They have a lot going for them. I don't love the whole idea of, we spent $10 million on 17 players. ESPN, come in here and let us tell the Big 12 how they're not shit. You're Texas Tech. I wouldn't love this if Ohio State did this last year.
No.
I wouldn't love this if anybody. Ole Miss wasn't out here saying these things last year.
No.
All right. So this is just weird to me. By the way, this is the second time Texas Tech has done this braggadocious type come look at us reporting. If you guys remember, they had they had this type of spill around them last offseason because their general manager does things on an NFL level, and it's just I'm 8-5, dude. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, they ranked 122nd in the country last year defensively. So, and you must have gotten some really, really good defensive prospects if you think you're fixing that issue. Also, it looks like Micah Hudson stepped away from Texas A&M after committing to them. I don't know if he's officially back with the team, but people are saying he might return.
Okay.
Cool.
Who's with me, though? Who's with me on the rooting for the downfall of this?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of these comments.
Yeah.
It strikes me the wrong way.
I just wonder if anybody read the article before it was released and was like, yeah, that sounds great. Just print it.
It was probably like,
you know?
What else are we going to write about, guys?
No, I'm talking about from the Texas Tech end of things.
Oh, I mean, I think...
this does nothing but make everyone in your conference hate you.
Yeah, but I think it also puts eyes on you. And
unneeded.
Yeah.
Yes, but no. Like, I feel like these Big 12 teams especially need to have that extra story to them. Like the Cam Scatabo, the underdog, the scrappy team. That was the story for them. Obviously, if Colorado went there, it would have been Coach Prime and Shador and Travis Hunter and all that. Like teams like that where everyone looks at the Big 12 and goes, that's not on the same level. You have teams in the same conference going, yeah, we know these aren't on the same level. You need to have those extra set of eyes where it's some story about you, even though there's an auto bid, because it's such a muddled conference that the only way to separate yourself is to get talked about nationally.
October 18th, 2025, the Fighting Kenny Dillinghams invite these Red Raiders down to Tempe, Arizona for a little ass whipping. I mean, all over it.
And that's what I was going to say is this isn't even like an Indiana situation where it's like, oh, the schedule's so easy. They probably could do it. I mean, for a Big 12 schedule, they play BYU, they play Kansas State, they play Utah, and they play Arizona State.
Don't forget the Colorado Buffaloes.
That's like as tough as it gets in the Big 12.
Nah, it's about as brutal as it gets in the Big 12. But hey, they got the best team on paper. They bought 17 transfers and added it to an 8-5 team.
I mean, hell, just go 10-2, and you might get a shot at the dance.
You might.
Also, if you spent $10 million on the 17 transfers, how much your roster probably cost?
An excellent question.
I don't even know.
It makes sense why they were in the Carson Beck sweepstakes.
Yeah, that was really weird. Now it does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also quotes in here where apparently the GM is known as the bag man on campus, and he has a quote in there that basically says, I got players that walk up to me and tell me, Coach, you wasted your money on so-and-so. I'm going to beat him out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he said he invites it. He wants that.
He
wants that type of culture in his building.
God damn.
That doesn't seem
I brought in this
at
D
all.
tackle for 1.2. What's up? Everybody knows D tackle over here making $1.2 million. Also, we don't talk about price tags because we let the collective handle all that. Yeah. All right, I'm moving on. Welcome in. We got a great one for you. Apparently, Jim Trestle is the vice president of Ohio.
Really?
That's what I'm calling it. That's what I'm calling it. Because I didn't know what the lieutenant governor was because I'm just a football guy. Me dumb. But we're going to talk about that tonight. Ryan Williams, an NIL deal for nail polish. We'll talk about that. Greg McElroy buying stock in this Big Ten football team. Really?
Yeah.
It happened. DJ Durkin turned down Ohio State for a fat raise at Auburn. We're going to play college football. Would you rather? Where do you guys want to start? Let's start with Ohio State. Actually, I want to start with this. We're in peak offseason content mode, by the way, boys. And our number one goal this offseason, apart from reaching 50,000 subscribers, is to save ourselves some money and make that dollar stretch. Does anybody know where I might be able to do that?
Might I perhaps suggest Rocket Money? It is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending, and it also helps you lower your bills so you can grow those savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved users a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions.
500 million?
Correct.
How much is that average?
Up to $740 a year per member, I believe, if you're using the app's premium features. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions today and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/gameon.
What's that again?
That's rocketmoney.com/gameon.
One more time.
rocketmoney.com/game
on.
There it is.
Shout out to the folks over there, Rocket Money. Make sure you're in that thumbs up button, like, subscribing, rate, and review. And if you miss any portion of tonight's broadcast, it is made readily available. However, wherever you get your podcasts, just search the Film Guy Network. Let's talk a little bit about Ohio State. Again, we talked last night about Joe Cullen, the defensive line coach from Kansas City, being a potential hire at the defensive coordinator position. And it's funny, guys, every time one of these big-time job openings opens up at a big-time university, there's a leakage that goes on to test the market of a potential hire. We got that Joe Cullen leakage yesterday just to see how everybody's kind of vibing with it up there in Columbus. Guess what leakage we got today? Little Matty P, little Matty Patricia getting interviewed up at Ohio State to be potentially the defensive coordinator for the Buckeyes. What do we think about Matt Patricia? By the way, I'm a little bit higher on this potential hire than Joe Cullen. I know for a fact Matt Patricia is at least going to be a good, serviceable defensive play caller. I don't know that about Joe Cullen.
Now, when you say like they leak out this hire to see how the fan base reacts, they're not actually talking about the people on Twitter, right? I mean, you're talking about like the people that support your program.
Oh no, they're reading message boards. They're getting a gauge and a temperature of the audience and of the fan base. I fully believe this. Yes, I do believe that. And my theory on this started with actually Greg Schiano and Tennessee.
Yeah,
they leak out we're about to hire Greg Schiano, and they're like, no, the fuck you're not. No, you are not. We're gonna paint some crazy shit on that White Rock downtown. No, you are not.
Yeah, that was weird.
So yeah, I do believe this happens at these universities. I think they start, hey, what if we did this? Oh, they hate that. Never mind. Let's not do that. Let's go another way. You know what I mean? I do believe this happens in college
Mr. Cullen,
football.
they hate you. We're sorry.
Sorry, Joe.
They're not a fan.
The fans said no.
The
We can't
fans
hire.
said no. Twitter said no.
Schiano, they talked about the Penn State stuff. What?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Crazy.
I mean, yeah, the Matt Patricia, if it were to be official, like that one certainly looks better than getting Cullen. I would say just because of the history with him, who he's attached to, what he is attached to in the football world. I would certainly feel like a home run hire to go and get that guy to be coaching your defense.
It definitely would. And I wonder at this point, like, can we spin this in the fact that it's kind of an indictment on Ryan Day?
I don't know. You talked about this pre-show. I mean, he went after who he thought, I guess, was the biggest hire, which was DJ Durkin. Durkin turned him down for a raise at Auburn. I think the reports are $2.3 million annually. He's the second highest paid defensive coordinator in the sport, and he's $900,000 short of the highest in Jim Knowles. So that's a lot of money to be given to DJ Durkin, and you would assume he only got that much because of what Ohio State was potentially offering here.
And that's for a guy who doesn't very rarely spends more than 3 years at any program he's ever been at.
Yeah.
That guy does not stick around. It's a whole lot of 2 years, 1 year.
I will
3.
say this for DJ Durkin, and look, if you Google him, you're gonna find out what we're alluding to. It's not even that with me, all right? It's all the players that talk about the way DJ Durkin is out here coaching football. Like the most hard-nosed of hard-nosed football coaches that apparently still exist is DJ Durkin.
Yeah. My thing going back to it, though, is like Jim Knowles left, Chip Kelly left after 1 year, DJ Durkin staying at Auburn in a situation where it's a guy that might not necessarily be planting roots in one job ever. It's a weird look for Ryan Day, and especially after hearing about all the things that went down with Jim Knowles and the offensive staff and how there were fights there's a power struggle amongst the coaches. Like, I'm not saying it's like a story right now, but it is something to pay attention to, I think.
I mean, it's the like, can you recruit? Can you consistently stack a staff?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you stand in front of a room and talk? I'd put them in that order, honestly. Because if you can't do the third, you know, if I can recruit and put good guys around me, I don't necessarily have to be the world's biggest motivator. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess Brian Day really has never had to do it at this level of filling out your staff, especially to this magnitude of you got to get a new OC, you got to get a new DC, position coaches are leaving you for other jobs. Like, I mean, life hits you fast after winning a national title. It smacked him right in the face.
Now, this is the portion of tonight's broadcast where you laugh at me for being an idiot. Do you know what lieutenant governor means? Like, if you are awarded lieutenant governorship, you know what that means? Because I didn't before today. I honestly, yesterday when this news dropped about Jim Trestle being the lieutenant governor, do you remember what I asked you?
What does the lieutenant governor do?
No, I said, is that kind of like when they give you the key to the city, but for governorship? No, sir. Apparently, the lieutenant governor is the second highest and most important government official voted upon in the state. Jim Trestle is the vice president of Ohio right now.
The pipeline for being a public office official is so easy. Just become a successful college football coach in a football state, and you are automatically holding whatever position you want.
Specifically, coach. Can't be like a Heisman Trophy winner. Can't do that.
You don't think so?
Gotta be coach.
Yeah.
Coach. Heisman Trophy winner, not necessarily a great track record.
That's true. That is true.
Or a bodybuilder.
Yeah, or bodybuilder.
That'll work out.
Yeah.
A real popular bodybuilder.
Or an actor.
So, yeah, Jim Trestle, sweater vest and all, lieutenant governor of Ohio.
That state's about to be tatted up.
He's just trying to stop the flag planting. That's his only mission.
Dude.
Love that.
Good God, I forgot about that.
Let's get that bill passed. It's my one and only mission.
Do we have any other thoughts on lieutenant governorship?
No, it's just kind of funny because, like,
just interesting.
Yeah, it is.
What does Jim Trestle have invested in the politics of Ohio?
Just a tremendous leader, apparently. That everything I read up on it was the governor basically talking about how God gives great speeches and really, really in depth with his leadership skills.
Good for him.
Certainly.
I did see a quote from Trestle today that I really liked. It was basically talking about how he hates when coaches talk about we got to get better players. Why don't you coach the players that you have? Oh, I loved that. Now, easy to say for Jim Trestle at Ohio State, but he did it at Youngstown too. So yeah. Anyways, want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at BetUS. If you're looking for a new book this season, BetUS is indeed the place to head over to. If you use promo code YouTube150, you'll get 150% deposit match up to $2,000 over there on your first time deposit and 125% deposit match on your next 2 deposits over there on BetUS. Again, that promo code is YouTube150, YouTube150.
You've got a 2-day streak going of pointing in the right corner.
I know. And it's crazy because I am as disoriented as I humanly possibly could be.
Maybe it evens you out then. Your equilibrium is so out of whack that you have better sense of direction now.
I mean, it's escalated from feeling as if an AirPod has been shoved into my ear to feeling as if someone has inflated a balloon in my ear.
Oh, it's getting worse.
Maybe it's just been around so long. I mean, we're 7 days into an ear infection at this point. About done with the antibiotic, and it ain't done dick. So we're just...
Well, don't put that in your ear.
It feels like it is. That's what I'm saying. It feels like there is one.
How would you know?
ESPN graphic crews are crying across the world, boys. ESPN graphic crews, ESPN production teams, CBS production teams, anybody revolving around college football content took a collective weep yesterday.
Why
you know why?
that?
Why is that?
Ryan Williams no longer 17.
Oh my
praise
God,
the Lord.
Yeah, Ryan Williams 18 years old. 18 years
fully
old, so
adult now.
Can't talk about it no more. And he celebrated in the only way 18-year-old red-blooded American males can. He signed an NIL deal with a nail polish company. Now look, I ain't out here making fun of kids painting their nails. I'm not one of these macho tough guys. I don't really give a shit. I just have a question. When did this become cool? Who made this cool? Now, I understand his sister paints his nails, and I understand it's a cool story and it's sweet. I have a little sister myself. Awesome that you can, relate to your younger sister and your younger sibling. I could probably do a little bit better job of having a relationship with my own sister, so I'm here for it. However, when did this become cool? When did this become, I'm not even going to say acceptable, but you know the deal. I mean, painting your nails was only cool for like catchers to do because they had to be able to show their signals to the pitcher back to like 5 years ago. And now we're out here signing deals, making money off painting nails.
There's been a lot of like rock stars to paint their nails. I think really caused it with this generation, SoundCloud rappers.
Oh yeah, we've had that discussion. Bigger and more, please stop fashion statement nowadays. The ski mask or painting the nails?
Ski mask.
The ski mask is crazy work.
Definitely ski mask.
I honestly don't even know if I have an opinion.
You don't?
I think I'm just kind of like, whatever. Like, do you?
Yeah,
I just really do not care at this point.
The people that are like up in arms about this, like, oh my god, this is disgusting. Like whatever.
This is disgraceful.
Like, just let them. Like, it's only going to feed more into it, but it is interesting.
Don't care. Just curious.
Look,
I want some of the younger audience to let me know when did or who was it? Who was the guy that was out here like, you know what I'm gonna do? Neon pink fingernails tomorrow. And everybody was like, bro, you got that shit on. That's how that went? How that went.
He kind of cooked.
Lil Uzi, Lil Yachty, Young
That's
Thug,
probably more so
Young
where it
Thug,
started.
guys like that have been very influential especially with fashion. A$AP Rocky.
There's only one opinion I care about on this, and it's a legend from Alabama. Shout out Paul Feinbaum. What's your opinion on this? You're roll tide as it gets, buddy.
I guess I have officially ventured off into people screaming at the clouds. Two things have happened to me lately where I'm like, get the hell up off my lawn. This one, and for some just weird reason. And the other one was the state of Georgia just being like, you know what? In-state taxes, don't worry about it, football players. We'll give you that 16% break. Huh? We're just giving 19-year-olds free money? Where's my free money? I want my tax break. That one I was like, all right, we're going too far. We've gone too far.
Here's a good test. What do you think of the halftime show on Sunday? This would be a good test to see how old you are.
I mean, you know my feelings about Kendrick. I don't like his music. I don't like his music. Never have. I think Not Like Us is the first song I've ever added to a playlist from him. And I'm a Drake fan, so it wasn't even like the beef. It was just a good song. Made me bop my head a little bit. Normally, he does not. I do appreciate his influence on culture, though. I do recognize the fact that he is an icon nowadays. I respect that. Just don't like his music. Never have.
All right, that's fair enough.
Also, I think the whole idea of debating Super Bowl halftime shows is the stupidest shit ever. Because every year, that's either the greatest or the worst.
Yeah.
There is no in between. There's no legitimate rankings of Super Bowl halftime shows. Everybody's just got a hot-ass take on it.
Because, music in general is such a wide variety of opinions to begin with. But, yeah, as far as a halftime show goes, I don't feel like I can even form an opinion on it because I don't listen to enough Kendrick Lamar. I don't know enough about Kendrick Lamar. I really don't even know enough about the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef to really have any intel. I thought it was okay.
Either way, I don't care if Ryan Williams paints his fingernails.
No,
hey man,
congratulations.
you catch the football like he does. I don't care what you do.
Congratulations on the NIL deal. Welcome to adulthood.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
It only gets worse from here.
Boys, there's some folks across the pond, as they say, in a little bit of hot water.
Ooh,
yeah.
The Aussies in some deep shit.
Just when you thought,
just when you thought
they couldn't get any
special
cooler.
teams couldn't get any cooler.
The Aussies
we got
go
folks
and
out
make
here
it fun
cheating
again.
in NCAA. That's what we got. So for those of you who don't know, there is I would say over the last 10 years, there's been a wave of Australian rugby-style punters entering college football and then going on to the league. Dudes with massive legs coming over here and doing their rugby-style kicking. Georgia's got one of them. Brett Thorson comes exactly from this academy. There's one academy over in Australia. I think it's Punting One, something like this. It's got a name. Don't remember it. There's one that does this. And there are reports circulating that they out here lying about these kids. And the way it got exposed was there was an Australian kicker at a school that is redacted that was sitting down with his registrar trying to sign up for classes next semester. And the registrar's like, basically, hey, you got to take math 10-10. And the punter's like, I took that year one at university. And the registrar's like, it says here you came out of high school. What's going on with that? And the kid was like, oops. Guys, they've been lying about years of eligibility. They've been lying about how old they are. What?
I said language barrier.
Yeah, language barrier. They've been lying about how old they are. All these kids are coming to America taking spots from American punters, and that's how it got exposed, apparently, on top of the Aussie exposing himself via getting caught in a lie in the middle of the registrar's office. I think the American punting group collective was out here dry snitching on these folks, because apparently in Division I punters, 43% was the stat. 43% of them are coming from this one Australian company.
Yeah, the
Ooh.
Pro Kick.
Yeah, Pro Kick is the company.
So
I knew there was a lot of them.
So you're telling me the punters were hitting them with the IM-12?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sick, dude.
Now, Ohio State's got one of these. Have you seen this guy? Ohio State's got an Australian that's like 29, apparently, that's just signed. He went viral a couple years ago, or like 6 months ago. That's 6'7", 265 pounds, and he's on record with a hang time or a hang area of like 86 yards. Dude's got the biggest chooch ever put onto a leg. Is this guy. And turns out he's probably like Edgar Renteria and was 37 years old in his rookie year while telling people he was 22.
That's so cool. I think every single Division I college football team needs an Australian punter.
That's 35.
It doesn't matter the age. Just make them Australian, dude. They're so cool. They're the best.
They do have some good personalities to them. I knew there was a lot of them. I knew that there was even more of them because of Brett Thorson being at Georgia. I know he goes like on his weekends off. He's always going and visiting the other Aussie punters that are in the SEC. I think there's one in Vanderbilt. There's one at Florida. They're all over the place now.
Guys, they're out here forging transcripts, faking grades, lying about years of university.
They're so cool, dude.
Hell yeah,
I
dude.
love the Australians.
All to get off the island kicking.
That's the cool thing to do.
It's the best.
I mean, it really is a come-up story, except for in baseball, they do it out of Cuba.
Yeah.
And in football, it's just the punters from Aussie. And occasionally the Nigerian kid that got deported or moved up to Germany, and the DPI company brings him over here.
Yeah.
What crazy.
Insane.
That's just crazy.
People love playing football, man.
Yeah, they do.
They love the game.
They love that NIL money.
I'm a player.
Greg McElroy's doing what now?
Yeah, so Greg McElroy has kind of decided that he's buying stock in this Big Ten team. Now, the Big Ten, as we know, has been
Maryland.
not a bad guess.
Mike Locksley ties to that Alabama guy.
Kind of in the same vein as that, but it's not Maryland. It is the Illinois Fighting Illini. And his entire basis for this has basically, and I think this kind of paints the bigger issue that there is in college football right now. His entire basis for this is, one, the schedule is really manageable, and two, all you have to do is be pretty good. Like, literally, the quote is this. You look where the Big Ten is at right now, Illinois. But the schedule is really manageable. And we looked last year, Indiana. Indiana punched their ticket to the dance, got to the playoff, and really at the time didn't have a whole lot of signature victories in their schedule. But you know what Indiana also didn't do? A bunch of losses because their schedule is manageable. So basically the entire prompt for why Illinois is going to be a playoff team this year is simply that the schedule's pretty easy.
Shout out North Carolina making a college football playoff run in that case.
I think that kind of illustrates what the issue is, and we can do that later. But
we'll give a quick shout out to our friend JD the guitarist. Said he about took a month off, back to the show, super sub, JD. Name up on the board. Shout out JD the guitarist. Welcome back to the broadcast, baby. Yeah. Glad to have you back in the chat. All right, picking a little 6-string.
Does he actually play? I've never heard. Have you?
I haven't, but you know, every friends group's got the guitar guy. Mine was Noah Henson in college. Whoo, he could pick it.
Mine had an email that was called Ben the Guitar Guy, or Ben the Guitar Person. That was his email.
Oh, he like made it his personality?
No, don't they all?
Oh, you got a guitar?
Oh, you got a guitar?
Ding ding. Oh, dude, let me see that real quick. I'll play.
Y'all want me to play guitar?
You guys want me to sing?
You guys want me to?
I can sing. Not really.
I can sing too.
Not really.
Want to play Wonderwall?
Want to put your name on the wall? Shout out JD the guitarist. The Illinois stuff's crazy.
Yeah, but
is Nuss still or Allmeyer still there?
Yes, I just checked.
Like year 12?
Yeah, super senior
for him. Yeah,
and again, but like honestly, at this point,
got a billion tight ends.
Yeah, sure.
Bunch of big offensive linemen.
Hey, they don't know about that. But
no, sure. I know about it. It's Brett Bielema football. I know all about it. They got nothing but meat eaters up front.
They almost beat Michigan 2 years ago. But honestly, like this is a brilliant take from Greg McElroy, because if Illinois does this, goes and shits the bed this year, goes 7-5, no one's pulling up this article saying, remember when Greg McElroy said they were going to be a team that
Greg McElroy is.
Greg McElroy's been doing this.
But here's the
Greg McElroy is the perfect offseason take artist.
Wasn't he Va-Tekken last year?
Oh, dude, he was doing that. I mean, the entire offseason, like the news cycle was just littered with Greg McElroy gives a take on this. No one even brings it up during the season, but man was letting him fly. He was.
There's one company.
Yes.
That's why.
That's lying.
There's one. No, I said that's why.
Oh, I thought you said that's lying.
I'm just saying there's one company that was running Greg McElroy takes like they were football's gospel. Greg McElroy says, insert 900 different articles.
He just puts out a lot of podcast content.
You know what? I can't wait for the day. Brooks Austin says, we are buying into the anti-Texas Tech deep state.
I'm a certified Texas Tech
Do you
hater.
need to buy into like Will Howard? The Will Howard one, I understand. Now that crashed and burned.
It is kind of odd to be out here hating Texas Tech.
Hey, that team that hasn't really done anything the last 10 years, yeah, they're not going to do shit
Such
again.
a layup. Even if this one hits, like, come on.
See, that's what it was.
Half a point.
He went so hard on the Will Howard deep state last year that he was like, well, we need to curtail it back and kind of widen the margins.
No, dude, anything short of 7-5 is not a successful anti-Texas Tech deep state this season.
All right,
I need catastrophic failure.
So if
you wasted $10 million. Ha! You idiots. Okay. That's what I need.
So if they go 7-5, it's like, what are you going to do? That's Texas Tech.
We have reached 100% peak offseason content.
Oh, absolutely.
Let me read you back-to-back titles that I saw today on a very prominent homepage. Quote, Rob Ryan compares Lincoln Riley to Sean McVay. Okay. Followed up immediately with the title of Rob Ryan debates his hair versus Troy Polamalu.
That was a headline?
The headlines. Those are articles. Those aren't even headlines. Those are articles that they ran.
Of all people to debate yourself against, you went with Troy Polamalu.
Clears, by the way.
Clears
anybody
by a mile.
Like anybody.
Silver Fox, great.
Awesome.
Okay. Polamalu, dude, clears.
I know they're twins. I know they're twins, but those have to be the most lookalike twins ever.
Yeah.
Rob and Rex?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just like Rex with long hair.
Mm-hmm.
You think they share fetishes?
What?
Rex Ryan, pretty famously known for having a foot thing. Come on, guys.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
I just talk football on here, dude.
We are in
sometimes we'll dabble in the music a little bit, but I think that's a separate show if we want to do that. You and Jay can have that discussion. I'll just run
film guy after dark.
I'll just run the cameras.
So that Rob Ryan guy, what do you think he gets into?
Good God. Yeah, no, it is. This is the worst part of the year. I said this last night when we got off air.
I want to know who's writing it, not the company. I want to know who's sitting down writing that article.
I want to know
Rob Ryan versus Troy Polamalu.
I want to know how
who's
Rob
got the better
Ryan
legs.
compared Sean McVay to Lincoln Riley.
I didn't even read it. It's just such an impromptu comparison, dude.
Yeah, it's like what?
It's like what? How?
Man.
Try to take a guess. I'll go read it and see what the actual quote was. Try to take a guess on as to how Sean McVay and Lincoln Riley share any similarities.
I'm going to go with young offensive-minded guys that had success earlier in their careers and have kind of tapered off as of late. Even though they went to the wild card round this year.
Yeah, even though they still made the playoffs.
What we got?
I'm joining the best coaching staff in the country. Lincoln Riley is right there with Sean McVay, the best offensive coaches, best guys in the country. I don't care what league it is or whatever it is. That's just the truth.
All right. So they're really good at offense.
Man.
Yep.
That's the comparison.
Yep.
That's that. There's our headline.
Gotta have it.
Ooh, we're thin.
We are very thin. Anything else?
Yeah, we got a couple would you rathers if you want.
Oh, come on with it. Yes, I would love some would you rathers.
See, this is the gift that keeps on giving all the time. I can pull would you rathers out of anywhere. Would you rather have a natty win and go 2-10 for 4 seasons after that, or just have 5 straight seasons of 9-3?
I got a better would you rather.
All right, yeah.
Would you rather, or would you take this, I should say. I saw this on the internet circling around, and I think I'm going to say this correctly. You have 3 national championships to select, handpick. This is going to be the year. 3 in your lifetime as a fan. Mm-hmm. Every other year, you go 8-4. How would you use those 3 national titles?
Wait, so by every other you mean like every single season you're 8-4?
Going into it, you say this is one of my 3. Genie, we're winning a title every other year, guaranteed 8-4.
Okay, so basically you're the Florida Gators. Got it.
I'm going sophomore, junior, senior year at college. Let me get the 3, and I'll.
Man, you want them all? That short
Top
of
them
time
off,
span?
all 3 of them.
Bro, let me peak in college.
I think you could take one.
If I were a fan, if I really carried it on my sleeve like some of you idiots do.
Why'd you point to me when you said that? You pointed in my direction.
If I were a legitimate fan that carried it on my sleeve like the folks listening to this, the brilliant people listening to this do, I would probably take back-to-back, give them to me back-to-back. Let's have a run where everybody says we're one of the best runs of college football programs, and then save the last one for a deathbed. Give it to me when I'm like 75.
That's
and
actually
we just
not
gone
bad.
through like 60 years of
8 and
4.
I mean that's kind of how my dad's life was. I mean, he was around for the 1980 national title, then got the back-to-backs. Might get another one. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you got Kirby Smart around. There's good odds. I think I would take like one in college. I would take one maybe in my 30s, and then probably one like towards the end of my life. I'd have to be able to also have the information of like, when's my time up? Like, I got to know that too, because I won't pick it wrong. Like, what if I say like, in 2090 I won a national title? Well, I might kick the bucket before then. Then I wasted it.
All right, I'm changing my answers. I've thought about it. Freshman year of college, senior year of college, and then at some age when my kids are between the ages of like 10 to 17.
Get them hooked.
Yeah.
Give them that heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Give them that fandom
Give them
heroin.
that Kansas Jayhawk treatment.
This is Jayhawk treatment.
Get them hooked on the hot spoon.
Next one.
What's next, Kirby?
Next one. Would you rather be a guest picker on college game day or get a 15-minute sit down with a coach of your choice?
For the show's purposes, the guest picker thing would be banging.
Yeah.
We would immediately.
for personal
you think
relation-
Timothy Chalamet knows ball?
That's such a
How
unique
tragic would it-
experience too.
How tragic would it be though if this does happen one
0 for
day.
9er.
You get like 0 for 9. It's like he watches film,
Don't
he breaks
invite
it all
him back.
down.
I would take that over like a 3 and 6. Just be the best ever or the worst ever.
Yeah.
That way you're constantly on the graphic.
Oh yeah.
You know?
That is true. Like,
No good, no bad publicity type.
that's fair.
That's fair.
So what would you rather do then?
Give me the game day thing.
Okay.
The 15 minutes with the head coach, I don't even want to put a camera in front of it. I just want to ask him things that I would be able to talk to him about off the record. Any head coach.
What if you got 15 minutes on air and then you could have another 15 minutes like off air?
I still take the guest picker. Yeah. You go guest picker ESPN as like a actual college football analyst. Like it would be unprecedented.
That's what I was
to do
gonna
something
say.
like that. It would immediately stamp you.
Yeah, I was gonna say like specifically for the career that we are in, it would be more beneficial to be the guest picker because people in our career field do
Also,
not get picked.
we don't get to go to those places because Brooks Austin played at Georgia for 5 years and then had a 10-year career.
No.
When we get invited to Feinbaum, it's because the stuff's that good. You know what I mean? I'm not
True.
blowing my own horn here. I'm just saying I ain't gonna get to the top of the industry because of my name. It's gonna be 100% because of the work. So that'd be insane. I'd take that one.
Yeah,
I got 3 more for you. We can. How many do you want to do? All 3?
I want them all.
All right. Would you rather? And this is more for J-Will because he's more of a fan than you. But would you rather have 4 years of college football's best quarterback ever, or
I get 4 years of Cam Newton.
sure, even better than Cam Newton? Doesn't exist, but or you are guaranteed to beat every single one of your rivals for 5 seasons.
One more time on the proposition.
All right, so you have college football's best quarterback for 4 years, or for 5 seasons straight, you are guaranteed to beat every single one of your rivals.
So I either Michigan or I have 4 years of Burrow.
Yes.
Give me 4 years of Burrow because I already did the Michigan thing.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
If I have 4 years of the greatest quarterback in college football, we probably are losing like 3 games over the 4 years.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the greatest quarterback for 4 years, that's 4 years you're beating your rivals. So you're basically just taking out the extra year, or like
Who is the last quarterback to have 4 good years at one school?
I mean, they don't
Is it
stay 4
Murray?
years.
Well, Murray didn't have 4 good years. Like freshman
Yeah.
year, Murray was.
But to start for 4 years at
Yeah.
one school and have a historic career, is
Okay.
Murray the last one to do it?
Mississippi State guy. He did it for 4 years and then
Fitzgerald?
no. After him, almost broke the record.
Rodgers? He left to go to Washington Finished his career there.
Didn't he play 4 years for Mississippi State?
I know, but finished his career elsewhere. And yeah, did start 4 years, but finished his career elsewhere.
Yeah.
So falls outside of this.
It might be Murray.
Taj Boyd.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson didn't start for 4 years. He started for like 3.5. McCarron didn't. No, McCarron was behind John Parker Wilson for a year. Yeah, it might be Murray.
And it might not ever happen again.
No, it'll never happen again. Mm-mm. If you're worth a damn in college football, you're either getting poached or you're going to the NFL after year 3. And no one starts true freshmen unless it's like you're on desperate times. Next one, and this is more for you. I made this one just for you, Brooks. Would you rather cover a Super Bowl or get unlimited access, like sideline? You can interview players during game, talk to coaches, things like that, during a sacrificial college football game. Like I'm talking like Georgia beats Arkansas State 75-0.
All right, not to do the thing, but I have pretty unique access, I feel like, as a photographer at the University of Georgia. Because I'm not just a guy on the sideline that's taking photos. I'm a guy on the sideline that has relationships with the people that I'm shooting. Does that make sense?
That's true.
So I feel like I already kind of have this. I don't really care to cover a Super Bowl.
I don't either. I've never had the urge to even go to the Super Bowl.
I don't have the urge to get into any NFL coverage, I don't think. And I say that now at 30 years old, and it might something might change. You know, maybe my career path is the next Dan Orlovsky. I highly doubt that.
Mm-hmm. But you gotta have a safety first.
Well, I just know if you paid me to talk NFL football, I'd do it as well or better than I do the college football stuff.
Yeah, I think the Super Bowl is just
ball.
It's just a status thing at that point.
Yeah.
Like I covered the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
being able to say
put it in the bio.
Because you would definitely enjoy all access to a Georgia game more, but being able to say you covered a Super Bowl. All right, last one. Would you rather be guaranteed you can cover whatever game you want for a season or get to play one more high school football game?
I don't miss football like that.
Really?
No.
I'm taking high school.
I don't miss football like that. I got so burnt out on ball.
Even in high school, though?
Here's what I would take. I would take the ability to go back and play quarterback.
Let
my fat ass get back there and spin that shit. Hell yeah.
Oh my God.
I would take that in a heartbeat.
I thought y'all were a triple option.
In college.
Oh,
not
college,
in high school.
not high school.
High school, we were pick a stick, fun and gun.
Okay.
You didn't even say like scout team, like coach, let me run it.
No, I could. I mean, dude, I was 300 pounds my junior year of high school. I played at 300 pounds from 16 until 24.
So did Jared Lorenzen.
Yeah, but it didn't happen.
You could have been a head.
And how many of those have there been?
One.
Dude, he could have been the next one.
So no, I didn't even ask. And the most they would ever let you do in college is like maybe tote the ball a little bit in scout team. But by then you're a starter and people don't want you getting hurt.
Yeah.
So no, I would go back and do that one. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Getting to pick and choose which college game.
I enjoy throwing on Friday nights way too much. Way too much. I'm that guy that's like way too into playing pickup hoops. That's never been a basketball player. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what I got going on Friday nights. I'm a loser. 30 years old that's way too competitive about throwing routes on air. Because I just love throwing balls.
I never.
So such a loser thing to say.
I kind of want to put you on blast.
Why?
For the Sugar Bowl. Do you remember this? I haven't even told you this story.
You're gonna do this on air?
Do you want?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's not that bad.
Okay.
It's a funny Brooks story. So early before the Sugar Bowl even starts, Brooks is throwing a ball around with Ben Wolk. I'm just kind of walking around. I'd just been up to the booth, wrote a couple articles, was walking back down. He's throwing with Ben Wolk, and I'm walking by him, and he does this.
Oh, no look. Yeah. One hopped. I wasn't throwing Ben Wolk, but I appreciate you saying I was.
He looks at me, throws the ball, no look, and it lands like 5 yards in front of Ben.
No, it was a perfect one hop skip. It was online. One hop skip right to the dude I was throwing with.
Bounced to Ben and he goes, one hopped it, baby. Let's go.
One hopped
it. just immediately, like, without a doubt, like, I meant to do that.
Yeah.
Completely.
100% meant to do that.
It was like a 30.
Dude, he wasn't looking at me. Because I wasn't looking at him. It's no look. He wasn't ready. I had to give him that long hop.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
The way
you former first baseman, y'all know what I'm talking about. That short hop gets you. The short hop be a bad one. You need that long hop. That's what you need. That's what I gave to him.
The way he looked at me as he was rolling out and threw it, and then it was so
it's like the Disney sports movies where the final shot is in slow motion It's an air ball.
I will tell you this: as long as I live, as long as I do content, I will never be cool. I will tell you that. I don't try, but I try to be cool to way too much. But I've never succeeded at being cool. Never in my life.
I think growing up around people and seeing things on TV, the coolest people are the ones who don't try.
Yeah, no. I mean, when I don't try to do something, I'm a non-existent. I'm a non-factor. I gotta try.
That's not true.
I'm the Mr. Try.
Just be you.
I try.
Man. Just be you. You're enough, Brooks.
Thank you.
You're enough.
Thank you, honey. Let's send it to the local hour. Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog?
What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Across the pond.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not gonna say it.
That's Britain, by the way.
We're live.
Yep. What is up, ladies and we're back? How long have we been live?
Like 10 seconds.
Like since you were like across the pond.
Oh, yes. Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. We have a whole nother hour coming up right now. It's our local hour, and it's a great one. I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at BetUS. If you have not checked out those guys already, head over there today. Use promo code YouTube150. You get a 150% deposit match up to $2,000 on your first deposit and 125% deposit match on your next two deposits. Again, that promo code YouTube150. Make sure you're supporting those who support us, all right, by checking out those sponsors that are, gracious enough to support this network, man. We've had a great year so far and going on into 2025. Super excited about what's in store for this network. Got a great local hour for you guys. We're going to play Agree or Disagree. What's the worst season Georgia fans would accept to see a basketball national title? I think we're going to get some interesting replies here. Kirby put it out on social media already, so we've got some intel on that one already. Are there Georgia doubters or SEC doubters? A debate we're going to have tonight. We're also going to look at what could be potentially the best tight end class ever signed at the University of Georgia. We're going to look through all three of those highlight tapes and names that we project Georgia to potentially land in 2026. And we have some nostalgic tape. But I want to open with this because, boys, before the show, arguably, would you say he's the most famous person?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah. I mean, he's got millions of followers.
Millions.
That's really, really famous.
He made a beer brand cool again.
Yeah.
He's a pretty big deal.
Shane Gillis, apparently certified ball knower, friend of the show. Didn't know. Found out today. Somebody commented on my Instagram page, bro, Shane Gillis like this, you've officially made it. Turns out, been following me for a little bit on Instagram. Found us during the Notre Dame studies.
Oh, so he's been that honestly makes me feel better. That he's been following you for a while before you.
Oh, you thought it was like immediate follow, immediate DM?
Yeah, I was like, don't do that.
Oh no, I definitely see again trying to be cool. Fucking just completely biffed it. I realized afterwards, oh dude, every comedian has people try to be funny to them. Don't try to be funny, even though I think I was pretty funny. The DMs were funny.
I chuckled.
You got to chuckle?
The response to his response was
a little bit wild, but it is what it is. Phone died or else I'd pull up proof right now. But yeah, my man, friend of the show, listens, pays attention, certified ball knower.
That's weird, honestly.
It is. It's weird how we're not the biggest college football show in the world, but really, really important people watch our network. Right? Like head coaches, big time Power 4 head coaches, watch, call. Okay? Big time announcers in the world of college football.
Major analyst sons
DM me all the time. Right? Like weird things continue to happen on this network, except for 400,000 subscribers or something like that. So maybe we're on our way. Maybe that'd be pretty cool.
That is really cool. Though.
Shout out.
Those are the types of
odds Shane Gillis comes on this network. After those DMs, 10%.
Within what time frame?
No, whenever we ever land him.
Oh,
Ever?
we'll get him someday, dude.
12%.
We'll get him someday.
I'll give it a solid 20.
I'll give it 3 grilled cheeses.
All that's left, apparently, according to my buddy, is like any president, and maybe like Taylor Swift. Pretty damn famous.
I don't know if I want to get in the
I don't
Swiftie
either.
market.
I don't want the Swiftie market.
Respect to them. She's
Don't get canceled by the Swifties.
Does her thing, but
I'm good on that.
I don't need them.
Yeah, no.
Shane Gillis, way cooler.
Yeah.
I would much rather have a conversation with Shane Gillis.
Hell yeah. Known history buff is Shane Gillis.
He is.
Known history buff. I'm on my history kick this offseason. I just got done with a Winston Churchill documentary, and I have a top 3 fun facts on Winston Churchill. Do you want them?
Yeah.
Fun fact number 1, he rode a white horse during the Boer War. So prior to World War I, there was basically like a land dispute down there in India in one of the colonies that they were out there colonizing. And my mans went down there and he was like, you know what? Everybody's out here on black and brown horses because we're running through the woods and shit and people don't want to get seen. I'm going to ride a white horse. And his teammate was like, hey, bro, you think it's a good idea to be out here riding atop a white horse? Like, everybody's going to see you.
You just call him teammate?
Yeah, his teammate, his buddy. And Winston was like, I mean, it's kind of the point. I want to be seen. They can shoot at me. They ain't going to hit me.
My immediate thought, though, is if you're riding a horse in the woods, you're not being stealthy to begin with. Like, I don't care if you've got a horse that's got camouflage hair on it.
Well, this was like...
You ain't never heard the theory of the shiny sports car gets pulled over more than the non-shiny sports car?
Yes, I have heard that. Yeah, I have.
You don't think the white horse gets seen by the motherfucker shooting?
I'm just saying, if you're in the woods and you got a big horse stomping around in the ground, people probably going to hear you.
I mean, this is World War One. Before
people got better eyesight? Is that what you're trying
South
to tell
Africa,
me?
not India. My bad.
I'm saying before that was like their best mode of transportation.
No, I understand horses best. I understand all of that. I'm just saying, I don't feel like you're like the chances of you actually being stealthy on a horse are very slim, regardless of what color your horse is.
Fun fact about Winston Churchill, number 2, he never ducked for bullets on the battlefield.
Badass.
Very well known and talked about. Once asked by one of his teammates, hey bro, why don't you be hitting the deck when we be hearing gunshots? And he said, if you can hear the crack of the bullet, it's already passed. No need to be afraid now.
I mean, he's got a point. Like,
he does have a point.
You're not gonna.
He's also got balls of steel.
You're not gonna miss. You're not gonna miss the bullet. The bullet's not gonna miss you if you duck. Like, if it's on target,
it's one of those you're gonna die types of takes right there from Winston Churchill.
That's how I am on airplanes.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, well,
if it happens, it happens.
I don't really have a choice here. Like, the people that freak out when the turbulence is
Winston Churchill not being afraid of bullets equivalent to not wearing a seatbelt on an airplane, says Chris Kirby.
No, just like not freaking out when there's turbulence. Being like, oh God.
Number 3, a teammate once said, there's no way Winston is an alcoholic. Alcoholics couldn't drink that much.
That's a line.
So he's riding on a white horse, just full on in broad daylight, not dodging bullets and hammered.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill.
The most American, non-American.
Yeah. Also, probably the reason we defeated Hitler, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of was like, hey, this guy's real bad news, folks. And the world was like, nah, we just got over this World War I thing, not really worried about it. Everybody's kind of tired. Winston's like, don't worry, I'll fight him and hold him off until we bait the Americans into coming in here, and then they can take credit for defeating him. But in reality, I kind of just held him off for a decade.
Well, I mean, that, Hideki Tojo, and then Joseph Stalin.
Yeah.
And Adolf Hitler was also a really good reason for defeating Hitler.
Yeah.
Invading Russia was very stupid.
Shout out Winston Churchill. Somehow underrated.
How can we tie this back to football?
He was friends with Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt saved college football. Boom.
There we go.
Ooh.
We're back on track.
Bam.
Got him.
Not even off topic.
Not even off topic. Let's kick the old local hour off, a little good old game of agree or disagree.
Yeah, so I figured we could start doing this prompt. So Jalen Carter had a quote, and I feel like this is going to be one that isn't as divisive as I think it would be, but he had a quote. Obviously, the Eagles won the Super Bowl on Sunday night, and he was asked, Jalen, you won 2 national championships at the University of Georgia. You just won the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. How do these compare? And Jalen Carter said, and I quote, "Man, it's different. It's not like winning a natty. A natty feels good, but the Super Bowl is way different. Way more publicity and everything."
Well, that checks out for sure.
Would we agree with that?
I mean, it's just bigger.
Would we agree that you would want to win a Super Bowl is better than a national championship?
Yes.
I would agree.
Sorry, I know I just got done telling you I'd rather cover college football other than NFL football, but I'm not a professional football player.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even a SEC football player. Even when you get to that point, all you think about is the next one, right? Every Division I player in the world right now thinks they're going to be an NFL player. Mm-hmm. All of them. And they all dream of winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's huge.
I think the only thing that, and again, Jalen Carter obviously has more of an opinion than I do. The only thing that would get me hung up on is you win a championship with the team that you picked, with the coaching staff that you decide. Most likely, the coaching staff you decide to play for, with a group of players that you grew up with. I think that's the only thing that would make it kind of more appealing to me. And obviously, there's certain players that grew up as diehard fans. Like Stetson Bennett is a perfect example of this. So that's kind of my pushback on it. But I do agree that winning the Super Bowl is probably. Or it is a bigger thing. I
mean, it's definitely a bigger thing. The ratings speak for itself on that. I mean, there's people all over the world that watch the Super Bowl. But, I mean, too, I agree with Brooks's point of, when you dream, and this goes across all sports, of, when you dream of yourself being a professional athlete, you dream of yourself winning a championship in X sport. When you think of it on the college level, I feel like it's more so this is my dream school. This is where I would want to go play, and I want to go there and turn into a first-round pick or a lottery pick or whatever else it is. I don't feel like everybody enters a college level of, my heart is set on going here and winning a national title. It's more so I want to go here, do some really cool things, but really I want to make sure that I get my ultimate goal of going to the NFL, winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, there's the Super Bowl is the ultimate goal. You go to college and it is, well, if I can go to the NFL, if you guarantee me a spot in the NFL, everything will be fine. You go to the NFL, at that point, it's all you really want is either a max deal or a Super Bowl. And I would say most people want a Super Bowl.
It's weird because everyone wants the Super Bowl, and then you ask any football player who's ever played professional football, not all of them, but 90% of them, if you say, hey, what was the most fun you've ever had playing football? Mm-hmm. All of them say high school football.
Yeah.
All of them. So most fun, most rewarding, 2 different discussions.
It is. Yeah. And I think the fun part
I don't know if Jalen would be out here saying that. Jalen played high school football at Opopka High School in Florida. I think Jalen was ready to get out of high school and go play college football. I
think it's also probably the aspect of, if you're in the NFL, you probably were the guy in high school.
Oh, yeah.
You probably didn't have to try super hard. You probably could just joke around, have fun, and on Fridays be a hero. So,
well, and too, you have to think of one of Jalen Carter's national titles was against TCU, where they absolutely obliterated them. He just won a championship in a league that is the best of the best. You just took down the Kansas City Chiefs, a guy that was in the GOAT conversation.
Thank you.
I mean, a team that was going for a 3-peat. That's the team you knocked off to get a Super Bowl. I would probably agree that probably did feel more rewarding than.
Did you see the Raiders fan that lived out Christian Kirby's ultimate dream last week? He went to Kansas City, dressed up as an Eagles fan, and went to the biggest bar downtown and just made a scene out of it. And at the end, when the news lady started interviewing him, he took his Eagles jersey off and he had Raiders shit up underneath him.
We have the best fans, dude. Don't let us win the Super Bowl. We'll be unselfish.
Just piggybacking somebody else's success. Dude, classic Raider fan.
We have to.
You don't have much of it your own. That's correct. Not since the 70s.
And the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah. Gruden and Madden.
Bullshit tuck rule.
Yeah.
Anywho.
And then didn't you trade Gruden to Tampa?
Yeah.
Only for him to win a Super Bowl next year?
And then we brought him back, and then some emails came through, and no more Gruden.
Joke about the Michelin Man.
And now he's at Barstool.
It's unfortunate. Oh, he's a great hire at Barstool.
Great hire. He's so good at
He's got me watching Barstool.
Yeah.
Not just that. He's so good at Barstool. People are like, should John Gruden be coaching again? That was 5 years ago that happened. Now, like, a couple of really, really good sound bites from Barstool, and they're like, he should be a coach.
God loves ball.
We missed it. We missed it.
We missed this guy.
I see that Hard Knocks opening probably once a week now just because John Gruden. On Twitter somewhere, it's like, this was great. Bring him back. It's like,
tie back to the Georgia spot. No player in his pre-draft series came back to football FFCA, Fire Football Coaches of America, his little facility down there. No player came back more on that series than Malachi Starks. Malachi Starks very clearly enjoyed the football discussions they had, and it wasn't like, hey, Malachi, like the John Gruden's QB camp. It wasn't like that. It wasn't Gruden bringing guys in, watching their tape, saying this is where you're wrong, this is where you're right. Hey, tell me about this. It was more of, let's have a general education about how football is going to sound, feel, look, be talked about on the next level with these college kids, and just doing basic things like he talked about LOMM, large open moving mouth. When you go to talk to people, you need to have a large, open, moving mouth so you can convey what you are actually talking. Talked about eye contact, just general things going into the NFL draft process, and you could tell Malachi was eating it up. So yeah, tied it back into the little cloud for you guys. You got more agree, disagrees?
that was the one we had.
The one.
I figured we do that kind of a weekly, once a week topic.
I like that.
I'll start really creating some more segments for us since, the off season is kind of like, what was the news story for Georgia football today?
Today, there wasn't one.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, we're gonna spend 15, 20 minutes watching highlight tapes here in a couple minutes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No. I mean, it's some of the best stuff we do on this network. I do enjoy some of the off-season content because it definitely allows us to just kind of hang out a little bit more and not feel so stressed to move on into the next segment. So, yeah.
You don't feel as time crunched?
No, not at all. What's the worst college football season Georgia fans would accept for a hoops title in return?
So I thought this morning because obviously Georgia, for the first time since 2015, has a really, really good chance to make the March Madness tournament. So I kind of wondered, what is the absolute worst football season that you would accept as a Georgia fan in order, if it meant winning the whole damn March Madness title, which would be, by the way, an incredible run. Yeah. Like, being a part of a March Madness run is so much fun. I've had friends that went to like Penn State and Miami and things like that were part of these runs. It's a lot of fun to be a part of. So I was wondering, what do Georgia fans want for that? Put it out on Twitter, and I got a couple of responses. Here's the first one. This is from Clay Faller. I wouldn't sacrifice a first down for a basketball game. Jeff Clark says, undefeated national champions would never sacrifice a football season for basketball. Stetson Ledford. Absolutely wouldn't trade winning the SEC and playing in the playoffs for March Madness success. Give the football program all the NIL money. Tennis has success, swimming has success, football has success. I don't want basketball or baseball to match it if it means others diminish.
Forgot the Gimnasio dogs in that list
Gymnastics
right there.
Were wild. Here's a former classmate of mine. Said, replies are wild. If you promised me an NCAA men's title, I could stomach a 7-6 season and keep the winning season bowl streak alive.
I mean, shit, you did that every 4 years under Mark Richt.
Yeah, that's why I felt like people forget how often back in the day, like,
a mediocre year would pop.
Yeah, I would be like, oh shit, we're 6-6 this year. I wouldn't sacrifice a 3-yard run at midfield for the entire basketball season.
Wow.
Someone just said, F the basketball team.
Boy, I know who doesn't like this segment.
I would give up a whole basketball program for a first down against Vanderbilt. And then someone just said, natty, period. I don't know what that means, but...
Honestly, a lot more responses than I thought you were going to have.
Dang.
No, I mean, most of those people are names that we hear often.
Yeah.
On this network.
But no, I was surprised by that. And I'm well aware that basketball takes a very, very big backseat to football, and honestly, most all other athletics do at University of Georgia. But I was surprised that people were like staunchly like, I don't give a shit about
what
basketball.
Is the second most popular program at Georgia?
I guess now where they're at now, it'd be baseball. Tennis gets a lot of people, and gymnastics. They fill up Stegman regularly.
It's probably baseball. But I think that's also the experience. When the baseball team's good and Kudzu Hill is like popping, that's when you bring in a lot of popularity. That's when people like really start to care about it. But again, like if the baseball team didn't win a single game this year, like no one would be like, this is horrendous. This is embarrassing. I don't know if there's any other school like this. Like I can't think of another school where
Ohio State.
Yeah, they're not
Ohio
very
State's
good at
right
anything.
there. They're not good at anything other than football. They haven't been good at basketball since Greg Oden.
Greg Oden.
And the point guard, Conley.
Yeah, and D'Angelo Russell was there. They were pretty good. Like they have some like very sporadic years where they're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm thinking more in the SEC too. Like it seems like every SEC team at least kind of cares about baseball, kind of cares about basketball.
Well, I'll tell you why those fans care. It's because those fans have all experienced what we're talking about. Georgia hasn't made a March Madness tournament since 2016. Every other year outside of that, it's just kind of been, oh, we're good, but we're not good enough. So I feel like if maybe Georgia fans knew what like a March Madness run looked and felt like you make it a run into the Elite Eight or you make a Final Four run, I think people would connect with it more and be like, man, that is fun. Especially like during the offseason. I think it would give you something fun to watch. Plus, like, Georgia fans look at it in a totally different, the wrong perspective of Tennessee, as great as they are at basketball and as much as their fans love basketball, have never made a Final Four. Don't you think it'd be pretty fun for Georgia, a school that they crap on all the time for being pissed at basketball, for you to go and win a national title in basketball and flex that on them? Like, I think Georgia fans, like, you look at it in the wrong way. I think that you just don't know. I think that's true.
It's definitely the fact that like you have no experience with this, so you have no idea how great it would be. Like if you made a run in a March Madness tournament, you would very quickly start to be like, wait, basketball is a lot of fun. It happens when they start off 10-0. Like when Georgia's 10-0 and the Stegman is rocking, it's live, they have home court advantage. But as soon as that first loss happens, like, we don't care anymore.
Speaking of which, what's the score? Aren't they playing right now?
Yeah, it's probably not going to be good tonight. They're down two of their
Texas
guards.
A&M, aren't they?
Yeah, Texas A&M on the road.
Basketball team.
The score is, it tipped off 5 minutes ago. They're winning 5-4.
Okay.
Yeah, down two guards.
A lot of time left.
Well, would it take a deep run?
I think it would. Like
to even ignite?
Yeah, I think it would for people to be like, oh, this is really cool.
You're our basketball guy. How close are they to actually even doing that? Because they should make a deep run in the College World Series this year.
Yes.
They should.
That's
on paper, they've spent the money. They've brought in players. They should be a good baseball team this year.
I mean, they label themselves as they think they are the best team in college baseball. Like, that's how they feel about them right now. That's, like, what they're putting out there. So, baseball team should make a deep run. Basketball, and like this year they have a good team. They're much better than they have been in years prior. Like there's so many games this year where I have said like they lose this game or they get blown out by 30 in this game, or you walk into this contest, don't even feel like you have a chance. I think that the most important thing for Georgia basketball right now is there is somewhat a foundation. And this is the thing that they didn't have when Anthony Edwards came in. Like, it's cool that you get Anthony Edwards for 1 year, but then all the players around him left. They transferred out. It's like your entire foundation that Tom Crean built immediately left the program. Right now, you have some key players that feel like guys are going to be around for a couple of years. You got some big names. Like, you got Dominique Wilkinson coming in next year, who's a borderline 5-star. So, like, you have some consistency, it looks like, that's coming in through the roster. It's just a matter of continuing to build on that. And they're headed in the right direction. That's what's the most important, in my opinion.
They got a chance to actually...
Damn it.
They got a chance to actually get into the tournament this year, right?
Yeah, right now they're projected as an 11 seed, but they're going to have to pick up some big wins, and they got a tough schedule. Everybody has a tough schedule in the SEC. Like, losing to Mississippi State last weekend was a tough loss, one you probably needed. But
I'm getting to the point where my football injuries are starting to add on. I tore my deltoid ligament in my ankle in my freshman year of college, and it just locked up on me. I just felt like I got stabbed on the inside of my left or right ankle.
Do you do yoga?
Yeah, so we're going to stand up for a little bit.
Do you do yoga?
Do I do yoga?
Yeah.
Some hot yoga?
I got into a Google search for hot yoga in the midst of my flu spell. Might get into it. I've been relatively flexible throughout my life. It's the soft tissues in the ankles that are just
Jake
shredded.
Fromm, big hot yoga guy.
Good for Jake Fromm. All Are there doubters or SEC doubters, Kurt?
So we talked about this last night, and we kind of listed off things. And there's certainly more data around the University of Georgia program than there ever was under Kirby Smart in the last 5 years, at least. I mean, we talked about Gunnar Stockton consistently outside the top 10 in quarterbacks. Win totals at 9.5 wins. Just consistently things like no preseason All-Americans. It got me thinking then, if Georgia's at 9.5 wins projected, what's the rest of the, like, who's the big dog? And you would think it's like a Texas or maybe even a Tennessee. Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee are all tied at 9.5 wins. That's the highest projected totals. Next up, Alabama at 8.5, LSU at 8.5, and then Florida at 6.5. Like, those are the notable programs. So it's less, I think, about how, yes, Georgia's being doubted this year, and you can put that on the bulletin boards, and you can say all those things you want. But at the same point, it's kind of like people are down on the SEC in general, and people are down on college football. Like, we are 2 years removed from Georgia Bulldogs having an 11.5 win total and hitting the over on that. And now I don't think there's a single school that has 11 wins.
Oregon, on paper right now, 13-0.
I think their projection is like 10.5. I think it's 10.5.
Really?
Let me go check.
I mean, it makes sense. We've been talking all offseason about how the talent gap the talent has dispersed clear across the sport. And when that happens, you're going to have less dominant football teams at the top of the sport, which means more parity. A lot more parity. I think we're going to have a year this year where we might have a champion that midway through the year doesn't look like a very good football team.
Yeah,
you know?
So Oregon and Ohio State and Penn State lead the Big Ten with 10.5. The Big 12's highest win total is 7.5. ACC's is Clemson with 9.5. Obviously, we just talked about the SEC.
They're clearing that.
Notre Dame is also projected to win 10.5. So it's more like college football in general is being doubted. Not being doubted, but
the Florida win total is 6.5. Intriguing.
Pretty clearable.
Yeah.
You would think.
I would think so.
So it's
going to have to delete the confidence tweet if we go 6-6, Bubba. You know?
Yeah.
We don't necessarily believe in you anymore there, Billy.
I do want to ask this because I heard Bill Simmons put it this way after the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl.
Bill Simmons was giving college football takes.
No, but I'm tying it into college football because I think this does somewhat maybe
what
apply
the
to Georgia.
Podfather have to say?
So he was talking about, like, now that Kansas City didn't 3-peat, they lost the Super Bowl, like, they can actually have real analysis about Kansas City going into games now. Because he was saying how going into the Super Bowl, he felt like you couldn't pick against them because you just at the end of the day have to say, well, it's Kansas City, it's Patrick Mahomes, like, they're just going to win. Like, that's what the analysis boiled down to. Do you think that people feel that way about Georgia now? Because they didn't 3-peat, but I feel like it's still kind of continued of, it's Kirby Smart, it's Georgia. Like, do you see how they recruit? But after this year, maybe some of the, like, people finally like, okay, maybe we can actually have some, I don't want to say realistic analysis about them, but maybe some more open conversation about what they really think of Georgia.
I feel like that discussion about Kirby has to come with some type of shortcoming. You got to lose some game you're not supposed to. Like, and he's the reason, not like offensive line got whipped or, you know, just a bad day offensively or whatever. But you got to have, like, consistent reasons to question before we get into that discussion, I feel like.
I just think it's interesting because I would say that people aren't even approaching that because I still see the things of, you seriously think that Georgia's going to have a repeat of what they did last year? And when you hear that, you take the perception of, dang, Georgia must have missed a playoff. They must have lost the SEC championship game, like something like that. No, they won the SEC title. They made the playoffs. They're like, they're going to be even better than they were last year. I feel like there is still some of this, like, that's how people view Georgia. Like, it's Kirby Smart. It's the best coach in college football. It's Georgia, whereas it's kind of already shifted for Kansas City.
There's that proven commodity that you have of when you do certain things and you kind of create this quote-unquote dynasty. And I mean, it's not like Georgia arrived after those first two national titles. Like, they were a consistent top 5 team from 2017 on. I do think that they are going to get a lot of the benefit of that, and especially the way they won certain games last year. The way you won that Georgia Tech game, the way you won the Tennessee game, or the Texas game, excuse me, and the SEC championship. Like, that's the epitome of, like, you just got to trust Kirby Smart in those moments. Now, obviously, there was the Alabama one, and you did lose a questionable fashion to Notre Dame, although your offense was kind of stymied anyways. But Yeah, I do think you're going to continue to get the benefit of the doubt as Kirby Smart. And Nick Saban got this too. Nick Saban did this from 2022 and 2023. The Alabama that we kind of all grew up watching and fearing, like, oh shit, they're just going to run in and kill you. That Alabama was not there, and they still got the benefit of the doubt consistently. They got the benefit of the doubt against Tennessee in 2022. They got the benefit of the doubt against Texas in 2023. Obviously, they lost those games, but games like that, people just come in because that brand that Nick Saban created, similar to how Kirby Smart's created a brand.
I'm just thinking of my mind went to bait. A great bait tweet. No different than your tweet about what would you sacrifice for a Georgia national title in basketball. Would you rather Georgia, this is the Georgia fan I'm trying to bait, would you rather Georgia win a national title or fire in basketball or fire Mike Bobo?
Oh, I mean, we know
all those idiots are like, fire him now.
Fire Mike
I want
Bobo.
no basketball national title. I want me a new offensive coordinator.
Jeez.
Oh,
sorry, I had to do it. Let's go to the board. All right, I think Georgia is going to sign the best tight end class in the history of recruiting, okay, coming up in 2026. Reason being, there is an in-state prospect by the name of Caden Prothro that we're going to start the study with today. 6'6", 205 pounds, a Noah Thomas almost high school football player right about now, okay? That's what we're going to watch at first. After that, Mark Bowman, a 2027 formerly tight end out of Mater Dei, has since reclassed into 2026. Georgia feels really good about where they're at with that one. We're going to take a look at that as well today. And they already have a commitment out of Lincoln Keys, who I believe is from Nebraska.
Yeah, somewhere in the Midwest.
Nebraska?
I want to somewhere in the Midwest. He's 6'5" plus. He's 225 plus. He's a freak as well. They've already got him in 2026 committed, and like I said, they are pursuing these individuals who we're going to watch today. Now, Caden is from Bowdoin High School. Bowdoin High School is probably the biggest
Michigan.
He's from Michigan?
Mm-hmm.
Bowdoin High School is probably the biggest powerlifting program in the state of Georgia. Okay, I believe this kid power cleans over 315 pounds and squats over 450 pounds at 6'6".
good Lord.
We're talking about a really, really
at
6'6". I mean, a really, and to put that into context, the reason he's freaking out is not because of the squat, it's the power clean.
Yes.
Being able to get under a bar at 6'6" that weighs 315 pounds plus, tremendous hip flexibility, tremendous ankle dexterity, all the things required to make sure we remain a loose athlete, despite the fact that we're really, really tall. It's a wife scout by nature of it, okay? This is what we look for when we look for wife scouts. This is a huge football player that dominates in high school, okay? And the idea that we're throwing a now screen to a 6'6" guy is stupid, okay? We're out here running tunnel screens to a guy that most people think is going to play tight end in college. Also, should be noted about this guy. Now, when I say this, he didn't do it well, but played corner for this football team when he wasn't playing wide receiver.
Like situationally or
no, like every down during the state title.
Holy shit.
Like every down during the state title. They put him in cover 3, just let him roam the back end and say, hey, don't let nobody run by you. Gotcha, coach.
Is that I'm fast and long?
That's I'm fast and long.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. There's not a super amount of physicality in this guy's play, okay? This is a weapon, not an inline tight end guy. All right, I don't think this projects to be Darnell. I think this projects to be more Elias. Okay, what they think of Elias right now, coming out of high school. Another now screen right here, going to catch it away from his body and really take off and do some work.
Ooh.
Yeah. Again, 6'6". All right, 6'6", big, broad shoulders on this cat as well. And now we're going to run by you.
Goodbye.
Are we going to high point this thing? No, we don't have to. We're just going to run up underneath it. The other thing I noticed about him, Kirby, you take this guy to oh my Lord, I would love to see you catch it on the first one. You take this guy to a one-on-one situation environment, you think he's just going to run go balls, post, maybe mix a comeback in every once in a while. No. This guy was going out in one-on-ones against Under Armour and really trying to run the tree, okay? Running digs, running hitches, running slants, doing things that most smaller, slotty guys try to do in one-on-ones. Most of these big guys are just trying to run by you and catch it over the top of you. He was showing an actual route tree, the ability to drop and sink our hips at the top of routes and create separation. Now you see him in the slot right here. I think it's what he's going to do in college, by the way. I don't want him manned up against corners that can get in on him and run with him. I want him against safeties. They're going to have to, watch this big monster run at me from 9 yards of depth. That's going to make me really, really terrified. Also, should be noted, a tremendous kid. A tremendous kid. All right. Very akin to the CJ Wiley recruitment, in my opinion. Very, very similar individuals, introverts by nature, don't really care about the limelight, even though they are blue chip prospects. This kid released a top 5 recently, Alabama, Georgia, like all the big schools in the SEC and in the national recruiting scene. This is who's recruiting this kid. All right. And he's a very, very good young man.
Chat wants to know if you can comp him to Mike Evans.
I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they did it because that's my question. All right, because I don't think he's going to be an inline guy. All right, but I actually had this conversation with a Carrollton football coach at this camp Sunday because Carrollton, Bowden, about 15 miles from one another. Okay, they're very aware of Caden Prothro. These coachings have been around this guy because he's been staying out in the west side of Atlanta for a very, very long time, and that's the very first thing I asked him. I know he probably doesn't want to be an inline tight end. The physical projection doesn't tell me that that's what I want him to do either. I want him to be a mismatch. I want him to be a weapon. I want him to know, can he be Mike Evans? That would be my question. I think there's a potential that it could happen.
I guess that bodes the more deep question is, if you do sign him at the tight end position, would you not just be able to utilize your tight end, your Y as kind of a pseudo X? They did this with Brock Bowers a lot. They got him one-on-one with corners and things and manned up, and he would be able to cook them. So
it's the teams that they did that with Brock with or teams who by design and by philosophy were man-to-man football teams. So if I put him over there at the X, I know I'm going to get a one-on-one where we're in a 3-by-1. He's over there by himself with all the grass to work with. Yes, you can do this with this type of football player. And they would do this early on in Darnell's career inside the 15s. They would put him out at an X and really force safeties to say, well, we're not going to let these guys back shoulder us, so we're going to roll a safety over the top. Now we're playing 9 over 10. You know what I mean? Inside the box. So, yeah, this would be that type of football player. I mentioned Noah Thomas. Noah, much faster as a high school football player than even what Prothro is. I think Prothro, I shouldn't say this out loud, so I'm going to whisper it. I had him at a 4.58. I had him at a 4.58. Yeah, he can run. Okay, he can run. Now, he's not a 4.38 guy. No. But they ain't making those.
6'7".
Yeah, no, they ain't making those. So now I'm going to see him block a little bit. Yeah.
That's
got an extra chip in there as well. Good little route down there on the goal line.
Snap route.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, he can really drop. I mean, drop his weight for a guy that's this big.
Why is he getting tight end projections then?
Because when you see him in person, you're like, oh my God, right? But here's the good news. I do love that he has a really slender waist. If I saw you big hipped at this age, I'm like, you're going to be 250 pounds, maybe 260 pounds. There's no way you're not going to grow into it with your frame. What does concern me about him being 240 and kind of growing our way out of being an outside the numbers guy is his shoulders. He is so broad, Kirby.
Shaped like a Dorito?
Yeah, very much so right now. Shaped like a Dorito, big, broad, long shoulders, and a very thin waist. Now, does the waist remain thin? The reason I knew CJ Wiley was always going to be an X, he's never going to grow his way out of playing X receiver, is because he's got really narrow and slender shoulders, despite the fact that he's got 84-inch arms, okay? So the width at the shoulder do make me think that this is probably a slot H-back, or maybe we end up being 250 pounds, and we have to learn how to be an end-of-line blocker. Yeah.
I mean, looking at this, it's clearly a guy that the quintessential purpose for an X position is having a wide receiver that you can beat one-on-ones with. That if all else fails, you have someone you can throw the ball up to or rely on to win a back shoulder ball. And it seems like he's perfect for that.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't know necessarily that you want him to play tight end because I think his game would falter elsewhere. I mean, that's in a very, very good corner route. Oh, my God.
It's a very good corner route for a 6'6" dude.
Yeah.
That's a junior in high school.
It feels like we're watching a wide receiver.
Yeah. And I don't know that that's what he wants to play. When I asked him this weekend, it was more of, I just want to be a mismatch. Like, make me a mismatch tight end. I don't care if that's in the slot. I don't care if that's outside the numbers. It doesn't really matter to me. I want to be a guy that's utilized as a mismatch weapon, because that's what he is. All right, it's exactly what he is. All right, let's move on to our next guy, who is Mark Bowman. Let's watch Mark Bowman now.
Sophomore tape.
This is sophomore tape. He is reclassed. He'll play one more year of high school football. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think he needs it. I don't think he needs it. This is the closest thing to Brock Bowers since Brock Bowers. He's obviously from Southern California. Brock was from Napa, a little further north than Mater Dei, obviously. But since he was 14 and popped onto the scene, his teammates have been calling him Baby Gronk. Also,
Baby Gronk?
Baby Gronk. Or not Baby Gronk, Baby Brock. Excuse me, Baby Brock.
We're watching Baby Gronk tape.
The other not weird, the reason he's getting this comparison, the body mannerisms. I mean, I always remember Brock for standing on the sideline with his hands on his hips. He stands exactly like him. It's weird. It's a very weird thing. They look identical. They play identical. I think this guy might have a chance to be as good. By the way, where's 19? Okay?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. This kid is a freak.
Oh, and you're going to pull away?
Yeah, dude. He's a freak. I love that. And here's the difference between him and Brock, okay? Now, Brock is a workaholic, a natural workaholic. I'm sure this kid works really hard. This kid's got an open hand dap game about him. This kid's got some swag about him. This kid's got some FU about him. This kid's got some, I think you compared it to hoopers that grew up playing AAU.
Yeah.
It's one of them. All right, it's one of them. All right, this is a very, very different football player. Look at him one hand that football and keep it away from the defender. And then, like you said, gate it from there.
Good Lord.
Yeah. I also love that he's embracing the comp, dude. He's wearing 19 for a reason. Okay? He looks just like him, guys.
Oh,
he looks just
even
like
the
him, guys.
uniform drip is
The short area quickness right there after the catch, we haven't seen since Brock.
the quarter socks, the literally nothing on your arms.
Watch right there. Boom. I'm running away from everybody. You're not catching me. I'm 230 pounds.
It's like that Jason Bourne. Jesus Christ, it's Brock Bowers.
Jesus Christ, he's Brock Bowers. Oh, a little slug over here?
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah, man. Jeez, dude. Jeez, dude.
Do we have times on this kid?
Don't need him. Don't need him. Don't need him at all.
There's a bust.
Oh! Parallel. That looked like the Florida catch. This guy's nuts.
Sophomore tape.
Sophomore tape.
This kid was doing this at 15 years old.
Yep. And the other thing about him, not huge. You're gonna walk up on him in person and you're like, that's the best tight end in the country.
He's Brock Bowers.
He's Brock Bowers. This one will hurt, and then you see this.
Ooh.
Yeah, buddy. I'm telling you, he got some dog in him.
Feisty.
He got some shit in his neck, as coaches would say.
I mean, that's good blocking, too.
Yeah, it is, buddy. That's St. John Bosco, by the way.
Underneath
that he's doing that, too. Now we're going backside cut off, and we're going to finish. Yes, sir, we are.
He gets underneath the wing.
Yes, sir, we are. I think we're going to pull on counter right here based off where our eyes are. We're going to send in motion for sure. All right, then we're going to seal the edge. Yep. Uh-huh.
Got away with a little one there.
I don't care.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, we're going to get some of those.
Crib this.
If you crib this, I'm quitting.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you crib that.
You crib that, I'm quitting analysis for the night.
Wait, did he push the kid down when he stood up?
Yes, he did. I'm telling you, he got some dog about him.
So he's nowhere near the play.
Nowhere near the play. He's gonna get a personal foul.
So this is Brock Bowers if he was angry all the time.
Yeah.
This is Brock Bowers in that 2023 Tennessee game.
Yes. This is Brock Bowers after he'd been spit on. Is what we got. Did we confirm that he got spit on? Yeah, post game.
Oh no, I was gonna say, did we?
He definitely did.
That was kind of kept under wraps, I thought, but
no, he 100% got spit on.
Oh yeah,
100%.
And I think Tate said something about it after the game.
It was, but I remember because we were in the room for that. It was kind of like a hey,
let's not talk about that dude spitting on Brock.
Don't talk about it, but this is kind of
definitely happened.
Yeah. I've never seen Brock that mad.
So is this the best position player in 2026 now?
I mean, shit.
Because I might say he is.
If his comp is Brock Bowers, yeah, it is. Brock Bowers was the best player in college football for 2 years.
2.5.
You could argue 2.5. They didn't really start. Georgia didn't really go like, oh shit.
I love that he's this talented and he cares that much.
Yeah.
You know, he cares that much about the other stuff. I'm sold. Is the chat sold?
Yes.
I hope the chat's sold on
Chat
Mr. Mark
says,
Bowman.
Baby Brock rizzed up Kirby Smart.
Insane. All right, here's the actual commit currently. Lincoln Keys out of the state of Michigan. I would imagine, so if Pro throws the H, maybe an X type of receiver, Bowman's the Brock Bowers who can do everything. Maybe this is the inline guy. All right, so let's see what we got from Lincoln Keys. Got a slot magnet right here in high school football. How do they just find all these big movers, don't they? Holy hell.
Oh no, and you're cribbing it?
You know what he looks like, and it's not just a number. The way he runs around, it looks like Josh Allen. It looks like Josh Allen playing tight end.
Josh Allen.
Look at that. That's Josh
like
Allen's
Josh
gait
Allen.
right there.
It's Josh
That does look like
MVP.
Josh
That is Josh Allen.
It's the MVP.
Hell yeah. The one-hand catch, pirouetting backwards, and then cribbing's kind of nuts. Oh, now we're going to head top somebody. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. How does he keep doing it? How does Todd Harley keep getting away with it?
I mean, it truly is just it's the one position. Like, I think there's some that kind of get put into this as well.
Did he just push the kid over with
Yeah, he
his,
did.
But I think
ball carrying hand?
Inline tight, though.
I like tight end really is the one position at Georgia that you just never worry about in any single class. Like every single year.
I mean, Shoes even missed the last couple classes.
Yeah, but Todd Hartley consistently, like, they're going to find somebody. They're going to find somebody for, and it may not be the top dog in the class, but there's going to be someone that they get that's like, ooh, I really like what they have.
It's been one player, and I won't even mention his name, one player that they've taken in the last 5 years where I'm like, that guy's not going to play here.
Yeah.
At this position. The rest of them are, how do we find ways to make sure this guy's on the field type of takes? You scratch your head to try to figure out who it is, aren't you?
Yeah. Did he end up playing?
He's still on the roster, and I don't think he will. But anyways, but would play everywhere else.
Yeah,
would play everywhere else. It was a good take for everybody else. But at Georgia's room, it's like, are you potentially a first-round draft pick? Yes, you can come play here. Like, I even feel this way about Ethan Barbour. If Ethan Barbour turned into the dude from Miami that's about to get drafted in the top 60 picks, the Arroyo kid, if Ethan Barbour turned into that, I would not be surprised at all. That's the way they're at right now at the tight end position. Yeah, find some work. Get north. You better crib this.
That was a great way of finding space.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big physical athlete right there. It just looks like Josh Allen to me. That's Josh Allen. All right, we good on that? Mm-hmm. That's a good tight end class coming in potentially for the University of Georgia and Todd Hartley.
And that's so refreshing to see that group of players, considering like how we've kind of talked about the upcoming class, like what the product is. Like, this doesn't feel like a typical offensive line group. This doesn't feel like a typical defensive line group. To see those three players, that is so refreshing.
Absolutely. What in the hell's going on with the NFL Combine?
Dude, I don't know. So,
like, we're in the midst of waiting around to see if we're going, and we don't even know who's going.
We don't know who's going. We don't know when Pro Day was. A week ago, I thought, hey, this is about the time when they announced when Pro Day was. I looked up when Georgia announced when their 2024 Pro Day was. They announced January 29th of 2024 that they would be having their Pro Day in March. It's mid-February now, and we've heard nothing about Pro Days. We've heard nothing about, hey, I've accepted an invite to the NFL Combine. It's very weird. I haven't seen anything like that.
We're 18 days late?
Pretty much,
compared to last year?
Yeah.
And like the only thing I've seen about the combine is like today I saw a player from Tulane. They put out an edit saying like so and so has accepted their invite, but there is no NFL.com. Here's the official invite list. There's nothing. You can't find anything about it.
And maybe that's
it's just in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the change of the.
We're gonna get absolutely raked over the coals for a hotel room. I mean,
hey man, I don't care.
I know you don't.
Whoa, what do you mean?
What do you mean? What I mean?
Did we even?
Yeah, we stayed in a hotel last year.
No, but I'm saying, did we drive anywhere last year?
No, we flew into Indy, didn't we?
We flew in Indy, but I'm trying to think, we had like a rental car.
Hell no. Everything's centrally located.
Yeah.
The downtown Indianapolis is 6 blocks.
Kind of fun, though.
6 blocks in a Congress Center. That's
Love
it. It
was
I
fun.
can't wait to hit Mike Tomlin with a bathroom door stall again. That'll be fun.
That was crazy.
Insane.
There's no weirder feeling than going to use the bathroom and looking directly in the eyes of an NFL head
You
coach.
get to go this year, hopefully. It's the biggest imposter syndrome setting you'll ever be in your life.
Yes.
For people who cover college football. Because we're gonna walk into rooms with sources that we have no business being in. But we're only gonna be there because, Brooks's buddies in town schmoozing with NFL scouts.
Yeah.
And we'll go into a room where all 32 NFL organizations have either a general manager, head coach, or offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator in the room.
I want to go so bad.
And Mina Kimes is going to be walking around.
I want to go so
Kimes,
bad.
Laura Rutledge, it was insane.
I smoked a cigar next to
Dayball.
Dayball.
Now I really want to go.
Yeah.
Now you're speaking to my heart right now.
Yeah. And knew for a fact man was on Ozempic 2 months later because holy hell. Wow.
I didn't know about
He
that.
lost half a human.
Also saw a very notable college football player allegedly.
Allegedly. Thought it was him. 'Twas not him.
Claimed it wasn't him, but it was him.
It was him. It was definitely Bear Alexander. It was definitely him.
1,000%.
1,000%.
The funniest part was the person we were with was like, I know him. Went up to was like, he said that's not him.
That's not him. Like, bro, he just lied to you. That's definitely him. Anything else?
We got nostalgia tape.
Oh,
Let me pull it up.
I love me some nostalgia.
Now,
tape.
this is a nostalgia tape that we're not going to try to stump you. You're going to guess it very easily. It's a very, very...
It's just a fun one to watch.
It's a very fun one to watch. And it's kind of a reminder of what kind of player this player can be. He's still on the roster. Hasn't really reached his full potential yet, but looking back at his high school tapes, it's like, oh yeah, that's why they went with this kid.
Huh.
Do you want to go and guess who it is?
I was about
off
to say,
that?
offense, defense.
Offense. He popped as a freshman, and that was kind of his last big moment.
Branson? Let's do it. I remember this tape. This is Maurice Jones-Drew right here. This is Maurice Jones-Drew that everybody thought is Nick Chubb because he big and he lift weights.
Way shiftier than I thought he was.
That's the Maurice Jones-Drew comp.
Yep.
People forget. I don't know why. I don't know why you forget this because he's still out here doing it despite all the injuries. Nick Chubb is the definition of a one-cut back. Nick Chubb is going to put his foot in the ground, get north and south, run 23 miles an hour through your face. That's what he's always done. He has set NFL records for speeds because he is such a one-cut downhill back. He is not a guy, all right? This tape right here and some of the stuff we've seen from him at Georgia, Branson is a multiple cut back who's probably a 4.65 runner, not a one cut back who's going to run 23 miles an hour on Sundays, all right? So let's take a look at what Branson put on in high school. It's that short stride, man. Good cut.
He's very fluid.
Yes.
And I think that's something he needs to get back to.
This is why, to me, it was Jones-Drew, man. All that in the box, make you miss Tetris type running, man. That was what I loved about the eval coming out of high school.
But he didn't really show that even as freshman. Like he was getting baby Chubb comps because he was running through contact, like stuff like this.
Yeah,
was what you saw him do as a freshman.
Yeah. The run that we showed on offensive film from UMass is not Nick Chubb.
No.
It's closer to DeAndre Swift than it is Nick Chubb at 225 pounds. Like he's a thick kid. He's way bigger than all the other ones. Quads, man. The quads on this guy.
He's a stacked human being.
His definition of a quadzilla.
Yeah. Tree trunks for legs.
Also, never understood the Nick Chubb comparisons for the 100-meter times alone. This is an 11 200-meter guy.
The Nick Chubb comparisons, and I'll tell you this now, you know it better than anyone. Any Georgia running back that breaks 2 tackles on a run and has a 90 to 100-yard game, they go, Nick Chubb.
And big.
There he is.
It's this.
Yeah.
That's
This. I took photos of me looking like I'm a 35-year-old mutant at 16. And now everybody's got me as the next Nick Chubb. It's that one photo from the Rivals running back camp, honestly, where he's holding the ball and his bicep looks like a horse's leg. That's the one where everybody's like, he's Nick Chubb. No.
They did the same thing to Zamir White.
Yeah. Well, I be honest with you, I kind of got that one.
But even he became a much more shiftier back.
Yeah.
Like he would run through your face, no doubt about it. But he was also like, he was not a one-cut guy.
I love the up closeness of the film.
What in the hell?
Good Lord.
Yeah, buddy.
See,
yeah,
that's
buddy.
why-
How dare you get tackled, honestly?
That's why I understand Nick Chubb comments.
Yeah, I do get it to an extent. I just thought it was way too easy. Way too easy of a comp.
It is.
But too, like, with Nick, when he ran through contact, people just bounced off of him. Like,
Pull it up.
Looked effortless.
Let's watch some Cedar Town, Nick Chubb.
You know what's also
some Chubb Town.
Maybe you could attest
What's
this.
up?
Why is there never a Todd Gurley column?
Oh, because not many backs are 6'3". Todd's huge. Todd is so tall.
But it's also like any back that's over 6'2" is like, oh, that's Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like
I don't know. And he had a very unique upright running style that's not very replicable.
But so does Derrick Henry, really. Like Derrick Henry running through the hole isn't shoulders down. Like
I don't know. Todd feels much better of an athlete than Derrick ever felt.
He is.
Derrick is north and south.
He absolutely was.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that, like, for as much as everyone tries to fit someone into the, that's DeAndre Swift, that's Nick Chubb category, no one ever really tries to find Todd Gurley.
I put Todd and Najee Harris in the same group.
I would,
Lev, and honestly, Lev's different because of his run style, but how they look, they're in that.
I would say that, yeah.
6'3", 225, good enough to run away from you, and big enough to run over you and cause you to shit your pants when you see him coming down the tracks. Let's take a look at old Chubb right here. See?
What in the hell?
Bro, so just no drip. Don't give a shit about nothing but scoring the rock, man.
Just a businessman.
Straight up, 100%. Straight businessman.
No
chance this guy was a 5-star, was he?
I don't think. No, Sony was rated higher.
Yeah. Probably just didn't give a shit.
Nope.
Never gonna be in your DMs talking about why ain't I a 5-star?
Heck,
You know, don't give a shit. I played the triple option at Cedar Town.
Are Nick Chubb and Brock Bowers the two best examples of no nonsense guys ever?
Yeah, I don't even know who I would put on that hemisphere or stratosphere of just
Malachi?
don't care. No, Malachi did Powerade commercials.
That's fair. But they all, I mean, yeah. Brock did a couple commercials towards the end there when he had that on.
Because he had to, because his agent made him probably.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's some fuzzy footage.
That's a camcorder right there.
Hell yeah, it is. I'm surprised we don't have the date stamp put up in the right corner.
I mean, this footage is probably like 13 years old now. Oh my God.
This is junior highlights too.
I mean, nobody but Rusty Manziel probably said that this was going to be one of the greatest running backs at Georgia. They're probably, hey, really, really good football player coming out of Cedar Town. Based off this film, you don't think he's going to be... I mean, this is arguably the second best, maybe the best running back to ever come through Georgia. This doesn't look like that. Zamir White's tape looked more flashy. DeAndre Swift's tape looked more flashy. James Cook's tape looked more flashy. I think most people would have saw this and be like, hey, Georgia signed a really, really good in-state back.
Yep.
And then he turns out to be the greatest of all time.
And the problem was, too, like, he popped game one.
Game one against Clemson, lost a shoe.
Lost a shoe, lost a helmet. Like, game one, people were like, oh, well, there's the next great one. And it was so easy to make that.
Was Slick even overlooked going into the NFL process? I know he's the 44th overall draft pick, but it wasn't like this was this dude's going to lead the league in rushing within the first 3 years.
Sony was the first round pick.
Sony was the first round pick over him.
Huh. What an interesting career for a guy. Do you think if he just looked cooler, he would have been highly more thought of?
I mean, I think...
Isn't that stupid?
It is.
But, I mean, marketing is half the thing. It's why Travis Hunter won the Heisman. It's why people care so much about Colorado. It's why people paid attention to Indiana this year, like we talked about earlier. Like,
I mean, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
I just said I would have done it. I'd have been like, hey, good football player. Can't wait to watch him.
Yeah.
Don't know if he's going to be a legend.
He's a legend.
Wrong.
well, what did we know?
Wrong.
The question I think we could also ask is, would they be legends if they didn't come back for 2017?
Ooh.
Because I think that while they were fantastic running backs their first 3 years. The 2017 schedule cemented them as legends.
Well, I mean, you could have that conversation about a few Georgia players. Like Jordan Davis belongs in that conversation. If he doesn't come back for an extra year, Jordan Davis is known as a good defensive lineman for Georgia, but he came back, won a national title, was one of the most dominant players in all of college football.
He was a third-round eval after his junior year.
And then it was like, whoa. So there's those types of stories.
Is there anybody who's come back to Georgia where it's like, hey, you probably should have gone? Because
there's a recent one, I feel like.
Because for every people did this to Xavier Truss, people did this to Stetson, but it didn't actually come out to be a negative for them.
Yeah, like
I'm thinking of examples where
you hurt your draft stock your senior year.
You had a terrible senior year when you came back. Seems like everyone improves.
Yeah, I can't think of an example like that.
No.
That's good news.
Mm-hmm.
No, there isn't. Not that I can think of recently. Almost all the flame outs and failure stories are guys
Chat saying Carson Beck.
I guess, but
no, but I mean, like,
but I feel like you can't say that either because his story is not finished as a college athlete.
And not only that, I don't think Carson Beck's draft stock is significantly lower than it was coming out of 2023.
If Carson Beck doesn't tear his UCL ligament, he's the 65th overall selection in this draft.
People saying Kyle McCord's going to be a first-round pick.
Dude, I saw Mel Kiper said that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to draft Jalen Milroe 53rd overall. Carson Beck would have been a top 45 pick this year if he's healthy. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Good for Jalen Milroe, man.
Right? Against all odds.
Against all odds.
Even with
against all
tiny
tape, I should
hands.
say. Against all tape.
Proof that you can turn the ball over, just run, be really athletic.
Just be really fast.
That is kind of the... It's so funny how it's like, you get to high school and it's like, got traits, kind of not the mental aspect of it and the taking care of the football aspect, and coaches go, I'll fix them, don't worry.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Same thing happens in college, and NFL scouts go, we got to take a chance on this.
Hey, but coach, all he can do is throw a 45-yard bomb and take off running. But he does that.
I'm
really
the one.
good.
I'm the one
to fix it. Coach, he got 7 1/4 inch hands.
Don't matter.
But he can run, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, been a good show. Appreciate you guys for being here. We will see you tomorrow for Q&A at noon, and maybe some redemption on NCAA. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully my ear bounces back. Fingers crossed for to be able to hear tomorrow. Appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like,